Authorities are now looking for answers into the motive behind Stephen Paddock's killing spree that left 58 people dead, nearly 500 others wounded. I want to bring in former FBI Deputy Director, former TSA Administrator John Pistole, who now serves as president of Anderson University. John, thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
Your reaction to this latest evidence. I'm trying to figure out, based on that press conference last night, if they are sitting on something big that they don't want to release, or if, in fact, they don't have squat on this investigation. What's your take on what we've learned in the last 24 hours?
Well, and I think you used the right word, Maria, in terms of evidence. What evidence is there? That's what the law enforcement, the FBI, and the Las Vegas police are looking for, and there's a lot of speculation, obviously, because when there's an uncertain or unknown motive, as in this situation, people try to fill in the blanks naturally. And so in this situation, the question is, was he acting as a lone wolf by himself, or was there an accomplice? I think clearly the FBI, based on my experience there, will be looking at the facts and just following where the facts go and trying to determine every possible lead. Anybody he's dealt with over the last several years, obviously the acquisition of all these weapons, 36 weapons over the last year, all those things, how does that fit together? And then that will help inform the conclusions.
Yeah. It sounds like they have theories, but you're absolutely right. They're looking for evidence so that they can follow and get confirmation on the theories that they have. Is it possible that he could have transported all of those guns into his hotel room, and then they found more ammunition in his car? I mean, is it possible that he could have carried that out alone?
Well, sure. So what we don't know is how many times was he back and forth between his car and the hotel room.
But couldn't they get that from the cameras?
Sure, and so they know that, or hopefully they know that by now, and they're not releasing that for whatever reason, because there's always possibilities of an insider helping in some respect, or unwitting. If somebody, a bellhop or somebody, was asked to carry some bags, of course not knowing what was in the bag. So those are all things that they should know by this time, but are not releasing for obvious reasons.
Now, organizers of everything from baseball games to movie premieres are ramping up security measures in an attempt to combat another attack. Obviously, Chicago reviewing security measures for its marathon this upcoming Sunday. What measures need to be taken, do you think, to lessen the chances of another mass shooting? Can anything be done, John?
Well, and that's the challenge. So there's no perfect risk-free environment, and so you have to use a risk-based, intelligence-driven approach to assess what's the intelligence say. Now, Homeland Security did put out a report, a field analysis report, I believe September 20th, just noting that the lone wolf offender was the greatest risk in the near term in the U.S. To broadly attended events like the concert. That being said, you have to look at what layers of security can you put in place while still accomplishing what your goal is, obviously, to have the concert, to have the race, whatever it may be, and then to build out from that interior perimeter, if you will, and build out depending on what the intelligence says. If there's no intelligence, indicating no information that indicates that there is a threat to a specific event, then you go with your standard package, if you will, of threat protection. And so that's how every venue, every organizer has to look at it from that perspective, and all entities work with local law enforcement and the FBI to assess that, so they are informed about what the possibilities may be.
So as a former FBI director, I mean, how long do you expect it to take to get more information, to get really more clues in terms of all of these questions? Did he have an accomplice? Was there something more going on here than meets the eye? How long do you think it takes before the public gets more info? I mean, that interview last night that the FBI did with his girlfriend, they're not giving us any information about that. And obviously they spoke with her for a long time. They met her at the airport, but we don't have any new info yet.
Right, and of course most FBI investigations are not done in the public realm, and so there's a lot of information that I believe that the FBI has that they're not releasing publicly, so they can follow up on those leads without the media doing their job. And for example, if they identify somebody in Reno or some other place, that the FBI can go talk to that person before the media shows up on that person's front step and ask for that interview or something. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that is not being made public for good reason. And that's actually in the public's best interest, so the FBI and other authorities can get to the bottom of this. Is there a co-conspirator? No indication of that at this point. The big concern is this a triggering event for some other person, either who is, for example, a sleeper from a terrorist organization, that is waiting for some big act like this to say, okay, that's my indication that in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever it may be, I am then to commit my attack, or unfortunately, a mentally unstable person who just sees that as, okay, this person can do it, I can do the same thing.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points. Obviously, a new FBI with a new FBI director. Real quick on Mr. Wray, your thoughts?
Yes, great. Chris Wray is a great guy. I had the privilege of working with him about 10 years ago when he's at the Department of Justice, and he's the right person for the job now. A lot of challenges and opportunities ahead for him.
John, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for weighing in this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
John Pistole joining us there. We want to